Hey friends, nice to see you. Let's just give it 3 4 minutes more and then start. Uh, just as a quick update, unfortunately, I think there's a bit of a problem with the tech of X. S- So while the speaker has logged in from his side, we cannot see him here. So just hold on for a sec. He's logging back in. Hey, finally.
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
finally. So great that it has worked.
Okay, perfect. I joined through my mobile in the end because.
Yeah, X is very unpredictable. So great. Finally. So great, finally, that it is working. Welcome, Aureliano. So glad to have you here. Am I pronouncing the name correctly?
Yeah. Well, that's actually just a username, but
Mhm.
my name is Guillem.
Gilan. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's great. So thank you, Gilan. Thank you so much for your time. And the problem with X continues. So Katrina, my co-lead, is also on the call, but I think she's not getting the invitation to speak. So Katrina, I've sent it to you, but meanwhile, let me start the discussion for our friends who've joined in. Skillan, why not start with your experience? So while we know each other, I have an idea of everything that you're doing. It will be great for people on this call to know about your whole Web3 journey, what you've been up to, what's brought you here, and what you're excited about currently.
yeah, for sure. Well, I guess my journey in Web3 began in 2019, but before that I knew Bitcoin, knew Ethereum. I invested a bit, but I wasn't like anything like a builder in the space. So I was instead in academia. I was doing a PhD in physics. Was doing research on graph theory, complex networks, and I guess that was kind of through theory was my entry point to learn more about blockchain. And yeah, in 2019, like I began my first Web3 project. It was focused on fractionalized real estate on Ethereum. Um, but yeah, at that time and the real world kind of frictions made us repurpose and pivot to DeFi, which I guess is more internet native and has a more direct impact. So we created something called Potion. It was an options AMM. It was based on the Kelly criterion. It was really cool. And well, what else? I joined Snapshot a bit over a year ago. I knew Fabian, the founder from Snapshot, from Potion's early days. Like he was the first step in Potion actually, and yeah, joining Snapshot has been so far super exciting. And I'm still convinced about DeFi and blockchain kind of financial potential in general, but governance has become like very engaging for me. Decentralized governance is combining technology with political, so very potential to transform the system as we know it. And DAOs, they could, they're just the first iteration, but this could manifest into new decision making in corporations, civil institutions, and what excites me is to think that we can see decentralized governance in our workplace, in our city, and obviously in these kind of more generally decentralized communities that have some sort of economic sovereignty but have no borders. So all of this stuff gets me pretty exciting these days. I guess it's what's I'm most focused on.
Great. And, I quite agree with you. So I've kept an eye on the blockchain space from 2017. So also the couple of waves that came, especially the last bull run that came, where a lot of activity started. But it is this time around that, I'm getting a sense that now that projects are maturing, people have been around for a while, ventures have been around for a while. The whole thing around community is getting the whole managing communities, governance, decision making is becoming more serious and more thoughtful. Last time people were just building, but now they've been through a few cycles and now giving much more deep thought to the other aspects as well.
Yeah,
And decision making will just keep getting more and more critical.
yeah. For sure,
Absolutely.
yeah, and as the market of participants that are willing to use DAO tooling in some way, not getting into whether they are real DAO or not. Like some players that define themselves as DAOs, they're currently reaching like incredible market sizes. Like
Yeah.
I think the recent top was that we checked was like $46 billion.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, in the context of DeFi market, for example, that would be around $100 billion, and stablecoin 150 billion. So it's not bad at all, and it's quite exciting. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I remember, and we'll come to it later, but I remember that you helping secure over 500 million of treasury. We'll come to that, but absolutely. So before I move on, just a quick shout out. Some of our friends have joined these calls earlier, so they know. But for those who've come in for the first time, if you have any questions, anything, just raise your hand, and we'll invite you to speak, and you can ask any question that's on your mind. We like this to be as much open as possible. So, so please just raise your hand, and I'll keep an eye on that. And so coming back to our discussion, and what interests me the most about Snapshot is impresses me rather is Snapshot has looked at the entire decision making process and is addressing each aspect of it, each step of it, and it's going in a very holistic way. So I thought that we can probably also structure our discussion once looking at focusing on one aspect at a time. And why not start with one of the most critical things, which is voter participation. And
Yeah.
here I'd also seen something that your team had done with a person from A16Z and Yale, some Eliza Oak.
Yeah.
So you've done research in this space to see how token rewards increases DAO participation. Your whole bread and butter is participation. So why don't you share your thoughts on what the research said? What were your findings from the research? What do you think actually impacts? A lot of people who are on this call are community builders. So if they want to increase participation or they want to understand what are the things that impact participation the most, your
Yeah.
perspectives will be very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So from the research with Eliza Oak itself, this is something that we will start measuring data once we release Boost with open access. So currently it's in a closed beta. We're still doing testing, and the research that Eliza is doing will start after the beta. But anyway, like obviously this project kind of comes from some product research, and incentives in governance is something that we obviously don't invent. That it has emerged kind of naturally in the ecosystem pretty much from the beginning, one way or another, right? People do it in a large variety of ways, and what we were kind of after was a way to make it very easy to offer rewards in snapshot proposals, and this way we could tap into that there's actually this existing literature in governance that says that incentives obviously are linked to participation, and they're not only economic, but they suppose like a reward that basically makes people come and vote again. So the thing is that this can be done in ways that only offer like temporary spikes in engagement. But what we want to do is encourage like more active participation, right? So we by rewarding directly activity in governance, we're already kind of doing a kind of more targeted airdrop, if you will. You're distributing voting power from your network into agents that are actively participating, and so it's important to get them to a better stake. And our vision here was to make it very simple to access this feature within Snapshot. And so what you get with Boost is the ability to anyone can permissionlessly deposit some rewards on a proposal and define like a distribution criteria for instance, they can decide to make a lottery, right, and reward some random participant some quantity. So yeah, this will be accessible very soon for everyone in Snapshot. In the meantime, it has been tested by a few DAOs that are close to us and give us a really good feedback, and yeah, there's still some improving being done at the moment, but yeah, so we're saying it's coming soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Boost is a great one actually. Some of our friends here will know that we are also Together Crew, Snapshot is and Arbitrum are working together. We're building a solution for Arbitrum DAO to increase governance participation, where we do the community scores. We use Boost to put it on chain, and then Arbitrum can use it to incentivize governance participation. And we're quite excited about it because it takes our analytics and moves it on chain using Snapshots Boost. That's a very interesting one. And yeah, and also, double clicking on what you said, it's very interesting because we often hear this thing that whether to give incentives or is being a part of the community and participating a governance itself an intrinsic motivation. And we do believe that, at points, extrinsic motivation helps. And that's exactly what I'm hearing when you say that rewards can be of different types. Monetary reward is a one type, but rewards do matter in getting more participation.
Yeah, for sure. There's other aspects, even like into Boost itself, like who these rewards should be kind of distributed to. That signal to another project, to another problem that is the one that you guys are tackling. And I think having a solution to the identity problem in your community and having reputation and things like this basically help make these features shine, because you can be more selective into who you are rewarding, and so you can maximize the value of the money that the protocol is distributing, right? Because at the end of the day, the protocol is distributing its token in this process, so it wants to maximize the payout, and the way to do it is to reward more selectively, and this also applies into other aspects of governance, obviously, like into who can vote into a proposal or who can create a proposal, right? It helps us identify governance agents, which can be something very interesting to make governance more appealing, right, and more realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be a whole science that will develop around this as Web3 grows. But absolutely, from incentive for creating a proposal to voting to participating. And I'm just curious, I think Boost offers some flexibility, right? And how the incentives are given. How is Boost going to be structured?
Yes, so the architecture is quite simple and modular, and so the smart contract is capable of distributing rewards based on a variety of strategies, and these include some basic strategy like distribute a reward to anyone who votes, right? But also it can target specific outcomes, like you can say reward people who voted this option, which would be known as bribing, which is something that exists in for example DeFi AMMs that incentivize liquidity, right? And so you can do things like that. You can also reward like the consensus option. So if you combine Boost with other kind of let's say plugins or extensions of Snapshot, like privacy voting, right? You combine private voting with a reward to the option of the consensus, then you can create an interesting game dynamic there.
Oh, yes, the game theory options here. And I'm sure, all of us nerds in the Web3 space will have a lot of fun playing around. There's a lot of different game theory aspects that can come in over here. Absolutely.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yep. Moving one step before, because that's also a problem that we are trying to solve, is because I think the problem being solved is also the whole apathy that's there in voters. And an earlier step, the first step is that perhaps is the awareness itself, where people those who are not actively participating in a community perhaps don't
Yeah.
keep track of it. They're not aware of the proposals. And so we're trying to solve it by doing a lot of, we're building tools for personalized announcements and different things. But that's our hypothesis. Do you and the team also see this as a problem where people are not aware? And what should communities do to make them more aware?
Yes, yes, for sure. I mean, I think awareness, like part of our mission is obviously to increase participation. And so when we ask ourselves, like, why someone wouldn't participate in a governance space where he's part of, right? And there's many reasons, like of all type. Like some of them are kind of legal, some of them are PCs and so are kind of more conservative and don't want to expose, or team members, you know. But also like the UX many times is not engaging enough, and notification systems, for example, are part of these. You know, if the person doesn't know that governance activity is on, like he cannot participate, and we're sure that this plays a role in low participation rate. So also like the fact that generally you don't have enough time to participate in all the proposal, right? But maybe you want to just be aware of them, or maybe you want systems, and this is what we try to bring, that facilitate the interaction with that proposal, right? And maybe, you know, summarize the content for you, or help you write the proposal, help you write an execution payload, so that it's very easy for you to access. But yeah, I mean, in terms of examples, like we have several partners that, like third parties that offer, uh, interaction layers where you can receive notifications for snapshot. And you know, for us, this is part of the rich ecosystem that we have, which is part of the reason why we have so much traction, I think, because of the value that they bring. And we, yeah, we're super happy to have people making the UX better, making our own users having a better experience, right? And yeah, I don't know if you guys have any any thought on awareness itself.
Oh yeah, so actually yes. So like I said, we within our tool we've built, we are attempting it in two ways. One is increasing the readability of a lot of messages. Second is increasing the relevance.
Yeah,
So readability, people usually mute servers, the everyone or role notification. Many times they just put it on mute in a server. Uh, so what we are doing as an ability is we've got a smart algorithm that tries to ping the member in different ways, through a DM or through a personal tag in the server. So in which case there's a higher chance the member will read the message. And the second thing we're trying to do is segmentation. So traditional companies have used segmentation a lot. What we are doing is bringing it over here. So we're giving people the ability to change the message by the segment of the member. So for example, if it's a governance vote that's coming up, uh, and there are different segments, there's the very active member and there's a disconnected member who's been quiet. For very active member, the message could be, hey, by the way, you've tracked this proposal 3 more days, do vote, because they're motivated. They just need to be reminded of the deadline. Whereas for disconnected members, there could be a message that goes out saying, hey, by the way, this is an amazingly important thing. If you've not been involved, fine, but this is probably the one that will change the course of this project. Come and take a look and vote. So instead of a one message going to everyone, this whole segmentation and increasing readability is something we're trying. We're seeing some interesting results to start with. So yeah. But
that's
anyway, this
really
is not.
interesting.
Thank you so much. But this is, about you more than us. So let me
Of course,
thank
yeah.
you so much. But let me turn the focus back to you. And there's some other questions also in my mind. But let me first close this journey that we were talking about. Is
Mhm.
we spoke about the awareness. We spoke about the participation, and there's also a couple of other things you touched upon, which is the simulation layer and the execution layer, and you're working on that also, right? So on execution layer, you have a very interesting thing called the optimistic snapshot execution, where
Yeah,
you've also partnered with Safe and Uma, and I think you've got about $500 million locked in over there.
yeah,
So you're also helping the community builders simulate the transactions. You're helping the community give the assurance that once a proposal is okayed, it'll get automatically executed. I find these things very interesting. But would you like to talk about them a little more?
yeah. So OSNAP is a great example, I think, of the kind of partnerships that we have in our ecosystem that shine, and we have more than 200 integrations. So this is just one, but it's true that it's super useful because it brings on-chain execution to off-chain voting, right? And in a way that you can configure the trust element the way you want. And UMA offers its optimistic oracle, and SafeSnap kind of offers some other oracle options. And yeah, all in all, make it very convenient. But on the topic of execution itself, more generally, this is something that we're working super actively on. Like we believe that execution is part of the governance cycle that begins with discussion, and you can also delegate, you can vote, but then it needs to have an execution. And this is something that we want to make super solid in Snapshot. And this connects with our on-chain governance framework, Snapshot X, that also allows the ability to execute on-chain proposals, right? So all in all, like obviously this is where the real kind of value is settled, and it's very important and strategic for us to kind of have a vibrant ecosystem around execution. And so what you were saying about simulation, I think we frame it more like an action. We call it an action where a DAO, which at the end of the day is a community that has a treasury, right? This treasury will typically do actions like sending tokens, but also kind of swapping here using these AMM, or bridging using to these layers using this particular bridge, or staking here or there. All type of operations that DAO do. We believe that this is an opportunity to kind of build a developer ecosystem here, centered in Snapshot, and that's what we're kind of working on realizing as a vision. And so yeah, we're super excited about this.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'd love for you to speak more on that in terms of the vision. Because one thing I find very impressive is the whole, like you've said repeatedly, that the snapshot team is taking a ecosystem view to
Yeah,
this whole space. And what I find very impressive is the number of partnerships that are being done.
yeah,
The team obviously believes in a very modular and partnership approach, which is the Web3 philosophy.
yes.
And which way do you see what you want to eventually say in the next? I'm sure a lot of the information is confidential, but what is the vision that really intrigues me?
Yeah, well, the vision is that um, as this comes from the very inception of Snapshot, the fact that it has been built so much in the open, it has made it move very quick and adapt to the user needs. So many features like come from users themselves that decide to build it themselves, and we obviously help them and supervise some of the stuff that they may do. But generally speaking, like we're so fortunate to have like this driving force of people contributing to Snapshot with plugins, with voting strategies, with all sort of UI elements. So it's a way of building as a team that is very rewarding. and also super efficient because you have a network of people that are there to thinking about how to improve your product, etc. And this is extremely valuable for us. So we our vision is to double down on that absolutely and try to bring those developers closer to the value created to the user and yeah, helping them thrive in the Snapshot ecosystem.
That's awesome. And let me double click on that and speak at it the way I see it for the people on the call. Is, I think Snapshot team and all our engagement has been one of the most friendly and helpful to us. And both these things. One is, so what I would say to anyone on this call is if you have something that can partner with Snapshot, I've seen the Snapshot team very friendly when it comes to partnership approaches, working with them, or also when it comes to ideas. So at least for everyone on the call, I think that should be a takeaway, that if you have something that can plug into Snapshot, you can use them. The team is very open. You have some ideas, drop in a message. Would that be correct? I'm probably speaking on your behalf.
Yeah,
But
no, that that's correct, and thank you so much for saying it. That's for sure the idea, and yeah, we're super grateful as I was saying with the ecosystem that we have, and yeah, excited to see how it evolves in the future.
yeah. And also, on the closing note, I'd also say I love the whole decentralization and Web3 approach your team has taken, because from what I understand, even the data that you have is all stored on Arweave. So you're completely following the Web3 philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like there's a whole spectrum of security that one can get with different governance frameworks, and we definitely try to find a balance between that and user experience, accessibility, etc. Right? You have to think that voting on chain, for example, is the kind of most censorship resistant way to do your governance. But up to some time ago, it was very expensive to vote, and so some people or many people prefer to compromise and just make sure that they have like strong verifiable voting systems, but that they are kind of cheaper or simply gasless. But luckily, I think that with the explosion of layer 2 and all sorts of augmenting technology for Ethereum, like this, the vision is becoming on-chain transactions very close to free, right? And we build tools for DAOs and spaces to bring kind of smooth governance to a user. So even if they run on chain, eventually the end user should see these as in a frictionless way.
Actually, yes, that's very important, and thank you so much for speaking on it, because we've realized many times that the project teams are sitting on good amount of tokens, and they've got different economic incentives, and at times people miss the gas cost that members face when they vote. And what I heard you say is that for members, the gas cost does matter. That should not be forgotten. That should not be overlooked.
Yeah, for sure. And there's many ways in which you can make abstract this problem. One obviously is by decreasing the fees and using layer 2 technology, which we actually are big fans of and have a lot of research and development in utilizing those for Snapshot. But yeah, I think there's other ways like the spaces can sponsor gas fees for the users. There's always workarounds that make the experience better, and that's what we always try to find in Snapshot when designing our product.
It's been so interesting speaking with you that I didn't realize the time. The time has just flown. So
Yeah.
just being a little respectful of that. I think as a closing thing, are there any thoughts on your mind which we've not covered? Or like I said, our friends on the call are a mix of community builders, CXOs. So if in a nutshell you want to give them any thoughts, any guidelines on how they should look at their governance, or 3, 4 things they should definitely keep in mind, I'll leave the floor open to you.
Yeah, well, not much, but maybe something that I was thinking when thinking about this space was the importance of reputation in governance. I think this is an old problem in decentralized governance and blockchain in particular. And I feel that bringing value in this front will really make governance kind of way more accessible. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting problem, and I love the way you guys are approaching this. So I'm super excited about it. Just
Thank you
wanted
so much.
to kind of
Thank you so much.
highlight
Yes,
this again.
that's what keeps us motivated. That's our I wouldn't say end game, because there's more things we want to do, but that's one of the strong goalposts for us, which keeps us motivated. So thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll keep partnering for much more.
For sure, certainly.
Cool. Great. So let me probably call it end to this conversation, and perhaps we'll of course we can always circle back into one more space, but just being respectful of everyone's time. So thank you so much for coming in on this, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and leaving at least triggers in everyone's minds on what they should do in their whole governance process. Thanks a lot.
No, thank you, guys. My pleasure. So chat soon.
Thanks.
Bye bye.